Hello and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and I'm doing another standardized armor guide. But, despite the fact this is the fourth armor guide that I am recording for this series, it's actually going to be the first one I release to you because it's a limited time thing and I want you guys to be able to see it to get this stuff as quick as possible. So, this is, as the title and thumbnail would suggest, the Warhorse Armor. So, before we get too far into the video, first thing, I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. That'll help me out a lot. Second thing, probably share this video out because as far as I know, these drops are only going to be active, at least in this first run, until February 11th. So if you want to make sure nobody misses out on this, please share it out. So basically, the way that you get these drops is it's two steps. The first step is you have to create and connect the game, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, to a pros account. It's basically a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 account. I'm not exactly sure what else to say other than that. You can access it from the main menu of the game. Either you can click on the social media little tab thingy under the section where you can launch your new game, or it'll be scrolling over on the left-hand side, and you can either scan a QR code and it'll take you to the site, or you can just wait until it goes and then press N on the computer at least, but it's probably a different button on a console. But anyway, basically you have to create this pros account and link your game to it. Then you have to link that pros account to Twitch. And then, and this is how you actually earn the pieces, you have to watch Twitch streams that have drops enabled. It doesn't have to be the official Warhorse Studios page. If they stream, they will have drops enabled. But when I was doing this, it was like 5 or 6 different streamers, including Asmongold, Serdani, which is one of the... he was the archery advisor for the first Kingdom Come Deliverance game, and then some girl that I've never seen before. Basically, I just kept the streams playing in the background and had them muted, so I didn't have to watch them because I was playing the game and I didn't want to be distracted. But you have to watch for a certain amount of time, and it goes in half-hour increments up to like 4 or 4.5 hours to earn each item. So if you want to get the items that I'm going to be showing you in this video, that is the only way to get them. Once you've earned them and claimed them on Twitch by watching streams that have drops enabled for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, you will then automatically have them in your chest in the game if you've linked your pros account to both Twitch and the game. So I hope all of that makes sense, but with that being said, let's get into the armor guide. So like I said, this is the fourth one I'm recording for the standardized armor guide series, but it's the first one I'm going to release to you. So because of that, I will go over a couple things that I've covered in videos that I've already recorded and edited, but you'll see after this. So basically, the standardized armor guide series is something I did for the first game. It's a way to compare the top layer of armor, or the thing that makes a suit of armor unique. So what I do is I pick one base layer, I design that to be consistent and mostly just for stats, not really looks, but I do consider looks as a secondary thing if it doesn't compromise the stats. And so what I do then is I pick the same padded gambeson and padded leg armor and the same chainmail to use as my base layer, and so that way the stats are just what actually makes the suit unique, which is usually the plate armor. Sometimes it will include other items, like sometimes you'll have a mail coif that is specific for a suit because it's named to go with it, or sometimes you'll have a wafen rock that goes over the top. But for the most part, this system keeps everything very consistent so you can actually measure how good a suit is compared to another suit without having a bunch of extra variables in there. So with all that being said, I show it layer by layer. So let's start off with the first layer. And the first layer is, again, these are your base items. And so the first item that we're going to see on here is the Warhorse boots. This one is not usually included in all of them, but considering this suit does call for boots and it has its own boots, that's why I have these here. So the Warhorse boots actually have better stats than some of the boots, not all of them, but quite a few of the boots in the game, with a stab defense of 2, slash defense of 3, and blunt defense of 2. Then we have the Noble's belt and Noble's pouch. These don't affect stats very much at all, except for they're both worth 220 groschen, so they affect the value of the suit of armor a little bit, and they both weigh 1 pound, so they affect the weight a little bit. Other than that, they don't affect the stats. The only thing to consider here is that, you know, they're the best in-class items, so with these you can equip 4 weapons and 4 consumables, so that's really all there is about them. Then our other 2 pieces that make up the base layer are the red variant of the padded chausses. You can use any color because they all have the same stats. I just went with red because that way I can keep it very consistent. And the stats for these, we have a stab defense of 31, slash defense of 43, and blunt defense of 34, and then the short pourpont for our gambeson. I also went with the red variant just to make a match, but any variant of this will have the same stats. We have a stab defense of 14, slash defense of 46, and blunt defense of 35. So that is our base layer, the clothing layer that all of these standardized armor guides utilize. Now let's add our second layer on, which is the padding slash chainmail or mail layer. All right, and so there we have our second layer added on, the mail layer. It's just 3 items. The top one is the mail hood with a coat of arms. There's a bunch of different variants, but again, we went with this one. It has a stab defense of 28, slash defense of 77, and a blunt defense of 59. Then we have for our chainmail, we have the hauberk long. Again, there's a bunch of variants. They all have the same stats. We have a stab defense of 33, slash defense of 68, and blunt defense of 55. And then the mail collar with badge, which has a stab defense of 27, slash defense of 68, and blunt defense of 55. So that is our second layer. And you can see that, as I mentioned in other videos that I've recorded in the series, most of the weight for a suit of armor comes from the mail layer. Well, the mail and the padding layers, because you can see that our short pourpont weighs 13 pounds, making it the heaviest thing that we're wearing, which I always find interesting. But having worn gambeson in real life, I can tell you it is actually pretty heavy. And our padded leg armor is 5.7 pounds. Then we have 3.8, 22 pounds for the mail shirt, which of course makes it the heaviest part, which makes sense considering it's a big shirt made out of metal. And then we have 8.6 pounds for the hood. So that is our first two layers. Let's move on to our third layer, which is what really builds out the suit. So for our plate armor layer, which you can see displayed for you over here, we have most of the items provided to us with the Warhorse set of armor. So the Warhorse bassinet has a stab defense of 134, slash defense of 98, and blunt defense of 34. Then the Warhorse gauntlets, which is our hand armor, have a stab defense of 126, slash defense of 92, and a blunt defense of 33. The Warhorse plate leg armor, which is our cuisses, has a stab defense of 119, slash defense of 86, and blunt defense of 31. The Warhorse brigandine sleeves, which is our armored sleeve armor, has a stab defense of 114, slash defense of 82, and blunt defense of 30, and those are all of the named items for this set of armor that you can get with the drops. Interestingly, you do not get a cuirass with this suit of armor, so I went, and you could question this choice, but I went with the cuirass with Fald's option, which is one of the best torso armors in the game as far as plate armor is concerned. It just has really, really good stats. It's heavy, but it's got tremendously good stats that very few of the other cuirasses are better than or can even match. And I almost went with the Red Militie's Brigandine just because stylistically it also matches with the set, but honestly, looking at them both side by side, I preferred the way this one looked better, and it is generic enough. It doesn't go with any specific suits of armor, so following the rules of my guides, that's why I used it. I did use the red variant because, for obvious reasons, it matches the color. And the cuirass with Falds has a stab defense of 132, slash defense of 96, and blunt defense of 34, making it obviously very, very good armor. There is one more piece which goes on the top layer for this suit of armor, so let's add that now. And that top piece is the Warhorse Waffenrock, or Waffenrock as it's probably pronounced. Now this is what makes it so that the cuirass doesn't really matter, because no matter what, if you put this on top, it will look like this, which I think actually looks quite good. A lot of the Waffenrocks in the game I don't much care for. This is one of the ones that I do like because it doesn't have sleeves and it doesn't go down super far. So all it does is, covers up your cuirass. So whatever cuirass you wear, this will look good with this suit of armor. And it adds on an additional stab defense of 2, slash defense of 3, and blunt defense of 4. So I would say overall it looks quite good. I think it looks better than the Warhorse set did from the first game because they're very distinct from each other. But considering, again, this is one that you can get for free just by watching Twitch streams and claiming the drops, I'd say it's a pretty dang good suit of armor. And this one, again, like I said, will automatically be in your shared inventory, so your chest, when you start the game. So you'll be able to access this suit of armor, except for the cuirass, which obviously you won't have access to until much later in the game. You'll be able to get this right away at the beginning when you start in Troskovitz. So overall stats for this suit of armor are pretty solid. We have a charisma, as you can see here, of 27, and that's with no spurs and no jewelry. So this is another suit of armor that will easily be a 30 charisma suit of armor once you've put some good jewelry and spurs on it. So it doubles for both being very, very good for protection, and we'll get to that later, but also very good for charisma. So excellent suit of armor from that point of view. We have a total weight of 88.6 pounds, making it one of the heaviest suits of armor I've put together so far. It's quite heavy. We have a total value of 28,079.9 groschen, and now, of course, keep in mind, 9,600 of that comes from the cuirass with Falds, so if you go with a different cuirass, like a Castambrus, or, well, I guess any cuirass that you want, because it's covered up by a Waffenrock, so it won't change the style of it at all. That is quite expensive, so that makes up a big chunk of that. But even without that, it's still a fairly expensive suit of armor. Then for our armor rating on this one, we have a average head armor rating of 262, average body armor rating of 238.7, average armor rating of 221.7, and an average leg armor rating of 172.3, giving us an overall average armor rating, or AAR, of 223.7, making it one of the best suits of armor in the game. Now keep in mind, like I said, a lot of that will be determined by how good of a cuirass you have on this suit of armor, which, you know, that's the one big variable on this suit, but that puts us only, well, less than 7 points below our max that we've ever achieved in this game so far, which is 230. So stat-wise, very, very good stuff on here. And again, it looks super unique, and I think it all looks pretty solid. Now, mind you, I don't really love the bassinet with Braytash style of helmet, which is what they went with here, but this one obviously is cooler and more unique than most of them in the game because this one's red and it says Warhorse on the back. So overall, pretty dang cool. The other part that you'll get with, you know, by claiming the Twitch drops is a unique Warhorse tournament comparison, which has pretty good stats and looks pretty cool. And you can see it here on my horse. But that's it. So that's the entire set. Now I'll just show you a couple high definition stills from different angles of this suit, just in case you like that type of thing. But in any case, that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.